call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tough time for a new flag. It's starting to fade. Okay, welcome everybody to the work session here. This is going to be the final one at 9:30 a.m. as we're going to be switching this to 10:30 because of all the traffic we have. This way it's take some of the pressure off. So I asked the Secretary Treasurer to call the roll, please.
All right, Scott Horowitz.
I'm here.
Ed Warner, present. Chip Marin. Here. Joe McLaughlin. Here. And Matt Parsons.
Here.
Okay, Mr. President.
Right, thank you, sir. All right, let's jump into our discussions. We have one here about the Sherp buoy placement.
Yeah, they were supposed to.
Yeah, I don't know if they're here yet.
I asked
Probably stuck in
them. I
traffic.
asked them to come and give us a overview of what they're asking to place in our bays. So
We have a PowerPoint from them, so once
Okay.
they arrive, we
All right, why don't we hold it until either they arrive or to the. We'll see it
The
happen.
traffic is exceptionally bad today. Notice our special counsel
Yes.
is not here yet. He's
Yeah.
stuck in traffic.
Yep.
Okay. Trustee Parsons, and I see Shakira is here. Hi, Shakira, you want to come up? Have a discussion about a waterfowl hunting location application for determination. That's a mouthful.
Morning, Shakira.
So this is for the consideration of Stephen Vince. He has a duck blind number 22. So the Bay Constables, they did get Rich.
Flanders, James.
He did get back. He says, in regards to the waterfowl hunting location of 22 at the end of Rogers Lanes, I have checked all of our records pertaining to this location and was only able to locate a complaint in regards to debris from a blind and remnants of a dead bird on the beach. Area resident was complaining about the hunting blind location, hunting in general, debris on the beach, and dead birds on the beach, assuming belonging to the blind while walking her dog in the area, and it's dated back January 18th of 22. I was unable to locate anything else pertaining to the hunting location, number 22 from Stephen Bentz. If you need anything else, you could contact the Bay Constables.
Okay. Okay, so this is not good.
No, it's unfortunate. But, we tried to give Stephen Bentz the opportunity to, state a case that his duck blind had been stolen, and he couldn't prove that happened. So, I think we're back to the original determination, which is, this has to go to the wait list.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know we had there was some complaints, which dead birds on the beach in the middle of winter. You're assuming it came from his blind, which we have no idea where they came from, or if they're even seagulls or ducks or anything. And secondly, I mean, he's had the ability to, call and let the Bay Constables know. I mean, it's it's a privilege to have a hunting spot, and I feel that some people take it not very seriously. And nothing against Mr. Bentz, but I mean, I think it's one of these things that we have to start taking maybe a little bit harder look on these these blind spots, because there are, I mean, there's a waiting list of 100+ people that would love to hunt this area. He alleged that his blind was cut loose, and there was some kind of report or alleged report that was generated, but we have not seen this or heard from the Bay Constables or the police department. So I agree with what the determination is as of right now.
I agree. I think we give him more than enough leeway. So I think more than most. So I think I agree with Ed and Matt. We should end this issue.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too much. There's too many excuses. I think you really have to. This is a gift to be able to do this in this town, and if you take advantage of it, I don't think it should be a right that you have to use.
It's a privilege. Yeah. It's a privilege.
And can he go back on the waiting list once he's removed from?
Yes, he can go back.
So he can start the process all over again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, that's what happens, right? It's a privilege, and we do give people a lot of chance. We give them some chances if it makes sense, and we give a bunch of chances here.
Yeah, we did.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so this is consensus built for back to the wait list.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
No problem. Not a problem. Have a great one.
You too. All right, so let's go to general permit applications for determination. I have Audrone Pianca, 1 Marinea Place, Hampton Bays. This is being represented by the owner.
Apparently he's having surgery, but if you guys want to review it, we can review it.
He wants to add rocks to the west side of a jetty that were dislodged by the storm. Constructed
This- I believe this got a violation because they added rocks to it without a permit.
I believe they added rocks to it multiple times, and the original permit was just for a short jetty, and this thing has evolved into something that is literally massive. And it's also taken over the wetlands. I did have correspondence with the Marty Shea, and he was going to send one of his people down there to look at the area in question because of the rocks being placed and some other material that was being placed in the wetlands. Basically, what has happened, I've been contacted by the adjoining neighbor to the west of them, which is between the inlet for the little creek there and this property that is asking for these rocks. And literally, it's been completely eroded out because all the sand is being caught by this property with the jetty that's there currently. And I believe the original jetty was much shorter that was approved many years ago. And it's something that we would not probably ever approve in the current state. So
So it goes on hold.
yeah, there's a lot of questions here that I think we need answered.
Correct. He's gonna have, we'll wait till the, appropriate time. We'll put it on hold, I guess, and wait till the applicant's himself or his agent or whoever can come address the board relative
Yeah,
to.
if you could pull the GIS map real quick, you can see the adjoining property just to the west of it, how badly eroded it is. And the property in question actually has 2 jetties in front of it and has captured most of the sand that would naturally be transferred down to the.
Is that the only day along that?
No, there's several jetties. There's 1, 2, there's more than several jetties along there that are, wooden piers and jetties. But this one is much more substantial than any one of them, see, as you can see. So I guess we'll
This
do
is,
a review when he's here.
this is an example of the need for a holistic type of a solution for these problems. That way
Yeah.
you don't solve one and create another one.
Well, I could see using the jetty system to slow the transfer of sand down to not have the inlet to that little creek filled up. But when you start taking all the sand from your neighbor and his property's badly eroded, so this is like, one benefits and the other one loses. So a
You know,
holistic.
This is on
approach
hold.
Do we know when that was constructed originally, the jetty?
Yeah, we can look it up. I think it was back in the 70s and 80s, but we'll do some research on it through this whole process.
We'll put it on hold for now. This
Yep.
way we can do the research, and then when the person is able, they'll come in and address the board, and we'll follow the standard protocol. Not gonna do anything other than that with this right now, so on hold it goes. The next one is Crypto Avenue LLC, 24 Sunset Avenue in East Quogue. I reviewed this one. This did not look like it was to spec at all. They want a boat lift, and they want to add a floating dock leg to the existing boat lift. And I just, I did the review of this a couple weeks ago, and it didn't look like it meet Blue Book regulations as they currently exist. So we really need this person to come in and do the full review with us. You agree, James?
Yeah, I think we should review it with the applicant.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it being compliant with Blue Book. And they gotta come in.
Yeah, I think this is something that needs to be.
Needs to go through the full
Wanna
process.
hold us here?
It doesn't meet the specs.
Well, there's currently a dock there.
Yeah, he wants to do a boat lift and he wants to add to the docking system there. So we don't, it's just not. Yeah, he's gotta come in. He's gotta come in so that we can do the proper review of this. So this is gonna go on hold, so. More to
Alright.
follow. More to follow. All right. The next one is Marcus Morticini at 34 Shinnecock Road. That's C-Tech permits.
This traffic that's going here.
Traffic's terrible. Yeah. They want to do a 4x6 wood platform, a 2.5 by 16 ramp down to a 5 by 20 wood floating dock utilizing untreated material on this one.
Do we want to take Kristen since she's here and see if
Yeah.
anyone else shows up?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll finish this one up and then we'll.
I don't know if these people are coming.
I got a text from another one that they are, I don't know about these people, but other people are coming.
Maybe they got the memo thinking today's a 10:30 meeting. And
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
I was
too.
thinking,
when I
is
didn't
that
see it.
I don't think so. I think the traffic is that bad.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Yeah, the traffic's that bad.
I just got here.
Yeah.
This one here, James, this Morticini property?
There was a couple of accidents on Sunrise.
And there's accidents, so that.
Yeah.
We reviewed this recently, and we asked them for untreated materials. Yeah, I just want to confirm that.
I see, yeah, I see. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to put this one on hold as well, just based on the comments that I'm looking at relative to this. And see if they come in here.
you could have a conversation with the consultant or the
Yeah, I'm
homeowner.
looking at the notes on here, and that's gonna go on hold as well. Okay, so all of these are on hold. Kristen, do you have Robert Tannhauser?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you come on up?
Thank you. Morning, trustees.
Morning.
James.
Yeah, no problem. Which one are we doing first? 12 Sun Court?
Were you folks here for? Which application?
Sure.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, we went to the wrong building, got a little lost.
All right, it happens. Okay.
12 Sunport first?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this project was submitted back in January. We haven't had a work session on it yet because I was away. But it's to rip out a navy wall, raise it 6 inches in elevation, and one 28-foot return and one 6-foot return. And we're gonna do 3 16-foot groin walls also that are his, that we're going to replace. However, this weekend, he just contacted me and wanted to add a step-down box to the plans, which I sent to James. However, they're not stamped yet because my licensed architect is away. But I at least adjusted them and sent him an updated cover sheet.
Okay.
Where do we want to start here? I'm looking at the survey,
Yes,
and the 3 groin walls that are currently there, I believe they're wooden bulkheads. And the first one that's proposed is not, it's actually in front of the other.
it's actually his, though. We went through this with DEC as well, and it was in his,
Survey doesn't have it as his. Or am I reading the survey wrong?
I think it's the deed that he submitted, and that shows that he owned those 3 groin walls.
Okay.
Because I had the DEC, I even picked up on it, and then he had to send paperwork to the DEC. I can forward it to James. I can send it to you, stating that all 3 groin walls were his.
I know that the current walls there are probably, what are they, like the same as what you're asking for as far as the
They're the
length?
same.
Because I know there's a lot of people that pass and repass along this area. I was just wondering that if it could possibly, it's definitely going to interfere with some of the ability for people to pass and repass. If you guys want to look at this, it's The end of Argonne Road goes down
Yeah, we can just give
to,
it to Lisa, and do you have a copy of
these are
the
the
new
current walls that are there.
You don't, okay.
And
Print
the
them out.
current
Or
walls
can
that
you
are there,
go-
you can actually
and
walk
then-
over. Now, the rock walls, are they gonna be any higher than the current walls that are there? The wooden walls that are there that,
The groin walls you're speaking about?
yes, yes.
They're gonna be exactly the same as what they are. They're pretty low.
No, they are. You can walk over them. I was
Yes.
just wondering,
We're not raising those, just the bulkhead is being raised in elevation.
yeah, which would be comparable to the next door neighbor.
But those are gonna remain the same length, same height.
Then we have the planting and all that on there,
There's sand.
so no beach grass.
Gravel.
I could redo his response, because I pushed for it. Would you like to hear it?
Sure, let's hear it.
Well, before we get into that, I believe,
Sure.
is he not working with Cornell and doing some kind of PRB?
They wanted to do that sort of system.
Because of the groundwater they had monitored,
Yes.
next door property had a high level of nitrogen, and he was willing, I thought he was gonna be willing to maybe do some kind of mitigation as far as groundwater going into the bay, because he is in a valley there.
Yes.
That's Sun Valley, and that's where all the water, all the way up from the high school, literally the groundwater percolates down to the bay.
Yes, he was interested in doing some sort of system, but it hasn't been approved so
Okay.
far. So he brought that to my attention before we even brought this to before we
Yeah.
submitted anything.
Yeah.
He had all the paperwork, submitted me, sketches and plans of what it was. But right now it's not approved. So
Okay.
that's why he just wanted to keep pushing forward for the permit.
And the adjoining property to the south, we just approved a rock revetment covered with sand. And we have, remember the grass plantings that was on top of it and back of it. So I would really like, being the properties to the north between there and Argonne Road, they're all natural vegetation and have, natural, root systems that absorb some of this, nutrients that are ending up in the bay. So I would really like to reach back to your client and see if he would put some kind of grass in this area, because it's a prime area for it. I mean,
Yeah, I went down this,
well,
because we've been down this road before, and I do listen to everything that you say, and I do present it. I said it to him, he said I could read the response, and that, since he's not here, I will keep pushing, but in the end, it's
I mean,
it's in the best interest.
it's in the
I
best
agree.
interest. He's,
I agree.
we're asking him to, do I have a positive impact on the environment on his property? He's asking for us to look at groins that are on our underwater lands that, we sometimes permit and sometimes we pull them back and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get the best project
Ed, are
here.
you horse trading here?
Well, no, I mean, if this applicant, is mindful enough to.
I'm trying to make a good
Yeah.
project.
Well,
I completely agree, and I even like the fact that he brought up that system from the beginning.
Well, there's a PRB right on the
Well, if you've
So-
got someone that's interested in entertaining a PRB, then they're
Then they
clearly
should be
concerned
interested in-
about the water
Yeah.
quality and the environment, so some native vegetation, I mean, it shouldn't be that big.
Vegetation can be dug up to be installed at PRB later. I mean, worst case scenario, he ends up with no PRB and no vegetation, and that seems like an option at this point.
Cornell does have monitoring wells and a PRB on the property just north of this. So they know what
They
the
know what's
water,
going in there.
they know what's going in there. And that's why they were trying to work with Mr. Tannhauser to do something on his property. But at the same point, if that's not gonna happen, we still have a lot of water literally coming from Lynn Avenue all the way down through that roadway, and it's all gonna end up into the bay.
Does he understand that the plantings also stabilize behind the bulkhead? You went through that.
Is it
Okay.
cost
You
us
keep alluding to this letter you
Yeah, let's
received.
hear it.
Keep alluding to this
Because I
letter.
listen to what you say, and then I present it, and I can only present it and get an answer since I'm here on his
So
behalf.
what's his rationale?
I very much do not want to have grass plantings unless it would be a lawn. I do not see how plantings would help with any form of erosion, since the bay water would not be able to reach the land side of the bulkhead. The land side of the bulkhead is flat and not subject to any form of erosion as long as a bulkhead is in place. I could understand the need for plantings if we were installing a barrier made up of rocks and sand, as well as what my neighbor will be doing soon, but not with a bulkhead that provides a shield to wave action and a flat land contour on the land side of the bulkhead. Plantings, if they were to be grass that can be mowed, would be okay, but not the typical plantings that would be needed for sand dunes / berms. Please share my thoughts above, and if they insist, they should provide a detailed explanation as to why there would be any reason to expect erosion on the land side.
Okay, so he's only looking at one side of the equation. We're looking at the other side. And based on the fact that you've read that letter and he's very pro lawn and mowing, that's even more reason why there needs to be a native vegetative buffer against this bulkhead, because the concern is from water coming from the other direction, bringing all those pollutants
Like
into
contaminants
the
into-
waterway.
Fertilizers.
So based on his letter, there's even more of a need now for him to have a native vegetative buffer. So thank you for reading the letter, and thank
You're
your
welcome.
applicant for supplying it. Because you definitely now need a native vegetative buffer, because you can't have all the, the lawn runoff going into.
I'd like to put this on, table this until next meeting so I can have a discussion, or we can have a discussion with our attorney. You can furnish us that letter, please, so we can
Right.
have a rebuttal to it, and, and from an environmental standpoint, not just an argument back and forth. So,
I don't think he wants an argument. I just think he doesn't want the plantings, and he would not install grass, because we had this discussion that the reason the buffer is in place is because they don't want people fertilized lawns, and you need the 10-foot buffer to keep that at bay.
But you have some more talking points to go back and have it.
and for his point that
We have
his.
If this is being held, that's fine.
We have the original what you read to put in our file.
And if you look very closely at the pictures that were furnished here, you can see that the bulkhead has been overtopped and scarfed out behind it, and the grass that he currently has here has been somewhat washed away. So that's, I don't know if you guys
Saw that, I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
That's
so
what
that-
I was getting at with it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
asked
so-
her, like, does he realize that this could stabilize behind the
Because it
bulkhead?
says in my response for erosion, I made the suggestion.
we
realize
have to have that stamped
And
in.
please put this as the original, just in case.
Yeah, can we have it stamped on this, and I can put it into the,
So you're on hold, Ed.
yes.
Okay.
Now you have another one with us, right?
Yes.
So
Reading that one?
No, that
Sun
Suncourt.
Court.
Back to Ed.
That was Sun Court.
And this is, Canal Way.
Canal Way, Old Harbor Colony. Right?
Yep.
It's my old stomping grounds.
Okay, so that one, we're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hold off and go
Yep.
back to speak with him again
Yep,
Yes.
and wait for the next work session
yes.
and
We'll have a rebuttal.
a
to-
rebuttal.
Yep.
Okay.
And that one starts at
And-
10:30.
Oh, okay, great. I'll make sure to leave at 6.
5:30.
Do you guys provide breakfast?
Would not be a bad idea.
Continental only.
Snacks, you can have my Big Newton.
Okay. Okay, yes, so the next one is 10 Canal Way. Oh, going back to him, when I speak with him later, and we go over and discuss this, and he decides to make the changes, can I just resubmit the new plan with the plantings then?
Yeah, and the cover
And then you
sheet,
don't have to, okay.
because that's what we're asking for,
Right.
basically.
But what about the step-down box, just out of curiosity,
Oh,
because
we
that
didn't-
was the change.
We didn't even discuss that, so.
No. It's just because he wanted to access, like kayaks, and we had suggested a lift, but he was more interested in having the step-down box.
What do you mean, you have the bulkhead and you have it,
At the, I submitted
It
plans.
steps down.
yeah, the adjoining property to the north of it has an area in their bulkhead where
Right, that's what he wants, just it's 10 feet off the neighboring property, but it's just as,
it's
so we
like
could
about
walk.
a foot lower than the
Yeah.
original, the bulkhead that's
right,
proposed.
it will be recessed in, but that was the addition, so I wanted to make sure that was okay.
But how is he
Why in
gonna,
that area?
he wants to access the, bay.
But why in that area of the bulkhead?
You mean not centered?
Well, at first he was speaking about also adding like a davit or a lift, because he does have a boat against the bulkhead, in which I said a davit would be a great idea, and you can put it, on a little like 10 or 20 feet from that step down box, and you can access the kayak, and then I just don't think he was comfortable with the lift.
Okay.
So then he.
Probably because he wants to tuck the kayaks up right near the driveway.
So he said it would be safer for him to walk down. So since I added it to the plans, I just wanted to make sure it wouldn't be an issue.
You have those plans to look at? We have.
Those
No.
are right there. That was the change I made over the weekend.
All right, my question is, when you have the bulkhead and you have the step down, what are you gonna put to shore up the land behind where the step down is? Because you're gonna,
It's gonna be part, it's gonna be in the, it's gonna have the dead end behind it as well.
but I mean, isn't all the material gonna wash into the bay?
I think it's going to be a cutout.
No, it's just like a cutout, like a
Oh.
recessed stair.
Oh,
And it's gonna have the open grate stair
Okay.
treads.
all right.
So that it wouldn't be wood, it would be that material that we would use for
Okay.
the capping, that grated.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure
I'm
that.
looking at these
Throw-
plans.
Throw food,
The
choice.
throw flow, or the through flow.
food flow, whatever, yes.
Would we prefer to have removable stairs on the outside of the bulkhead and
He
keep
has
it
that
flush?
now, he has a ladder.
And he's not happy with that?
No.
Why?
I think it's, more safety.
He has a pool out of there currently.
No, I don't mean a pool ladder, but I mean
That's what he has there, pool
There
ladder.
is a pool ladder there.
Yeah.
but I mean
But I-
removable like stairs.
Like
I-
a 4x4 platform with stairs right parallel to the bulkhead. You have this, like a little
I
platform.
understand the cantilever platform that
Yeah,
you would add
yeah.
and put the steps down.
Yeah,
He had preferred that, but I can bring that to his attention since I have to discuss the vegetation anyway.
we could try that. And see-
Okay, I'll try that and then see where we go from there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, this thing's.
So
I mean, since it's on hold,
cantilever,
we might as well get the options on the table.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah.
this has got,
Right, I
this
mean-
is
Yeah.
more going on
late on
here.
you guys. Okay,
Gonna leave at 4:30 a.m.
okay, cantilever platform.
Something.
With removable steps so they don't get washed away in the winter time.
Usually aluminum.
I'm gonna ask your reasoning for why the recessed stairs would not be a great option.
Well, I mean,
I'm trying to cover
Well,
myself.
I'm trying to look at, where are those plans again? I mean, I didn't see, well, what you had up wasn't really showing me what I was
yeah, I know.
looking for, quite frankly.
That's a set of plans I don't have.
I don't see, like, what,
See that box on the south side of the property?
okay.
Yeah.
It's 8 by 10 by 6.
Yeah, but you're not showing me like a cross-section of like what, it's gonna be, you're gonna be on the inside all the same height as the other bulkhead with some type of an
It
internal,
looks like the bulkhead goes right across the face of it, so it's hard to even
like,
determine
what
what
is,
you're after.
what is exactly going on here? You know what I mean? So there needs to be a more clear
A plan.
plan of what the
schematics.
engineer
Yeah.
is actually approving and what that looks
Okay.
like, more than just that box.
Okay.
See, I was looking for more,
Like I stated, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He brought this to my attention on
Yeah,
Friday.
no,
I
we-
just
we
try to
can't-
rush to get you
Yeah,
You
well, I
see,
mean,
yeah,
it's,
but
a
that
talking, it's a
doesn't-
talking point, so now we're just telling you that, like, whatever you want to come up with for that
Have the
cutout has to
cross-section.
be pretty well, like, documented
detailed. Yep.
via engineer
like,
plan.
is the back side of that at the same elevation as the
Bulkhead.
That
bulkhead?
was my question.
Yes, so
Right, so, and how is this, and it's like gonna be internally moving
it's gonna
down?
be internally moving down.
Yeah, so we're
Instead
gonna,
of-
yeah,
So
well,
I'll provide a cross-section, but I will
Yeah.
speak to him first about the cantilever platform stairway.
Yeah, because you have a current bulkhead, you're looking to raise the bulkhead up 5 inches, but you're looking to put this access incorporated in a new
Into the
bulkhead,
bulkhead,
but
right.
you're dropping it down. Isn't the wave action gonna wash out, or is that all gonna be, wash out that little?
Or you're dropping it down on the front side and the back side's gonna be the same
I think we
elevation?
can answer all this with good
With the
engineering.
cross-section.
We don't have, that's the whole
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we need that.
I think we can not
You-
have
I
a
was
question
I
marks.
was rushing
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
and just wanted to put
yeah,
it on
yeah,
the
yeah.
board,
Yeah.
so.
It's not gonna fly. Let's move to, let's move back to Old Harbor Colony,
Yes.
Okay.
where my aunt lives, who makes a great chicken parmesan. Hasn't made it for me in a long time. I'm gonna have to pass a resolution mandating chicken parmesan.
At least once a month.
Something.
Possibility?
Once a month at least.
That's what we're gonna do.
Okay, so Ted Canal Way is 100 feet of bulkhead to be replaced, raise an elevation to match the neighbors, 2 10-foot returns, gravel wide, 10-foot wide gravel buffer.
Move the existing platform and decking and all that
Yes.
stuff.
4x6 platform with 3x6 ramp and 6x20 float.
And the fence that is there is gonna be offset of the bulkhead a little bit, so for pass and repass?
Yes.
Okay.
And that deck is going to be removed.
Yep. So, I mean, this is something that we,
Is there a reason why they're moving it From where it's located now, the float and
He just requested to move it that way, which I stated he had to be 10 feet off the neighboring property. So since he was replacing it, he wanted it there instead of where it was.
I don't think it much matters where it is, as long as
Following
he's
the-
Got plenty of footage.
he's
100
got
feet.
plenty of footage, and he's got the ramp going away from the neighbor.
And it's
So
offset.
it's not like has a chance of a 35-footer hanging over the neighbor's yard.
No, there's plenty of room there.
Yeah.
And there's some big boats in there, and 100 feet of water frontage is a lot.
Maybe he wants to look at his. Maybe it's a better angle from his house to look at his boat, or not look at his boat.
I don't know.
I think we're fine.
I think we're good on this one.
Okay.
All right.
do we have stamp plans for this? Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So this one we can advance. All right, you got an advancement.
All right, got one.
Thank you. Thank you, trustees. See you at the next session.
Yeah, see you then.
Enjoy your day.
You
We
too.
gotta get one of those hot lamps too that we can make them sweat.
Scott, do you want to go back to the presentation or keep going?
Yeah,
with
let's go
the-
back to the presentation. That was supposed to be number one here, the buoy placement presentation. Good morning.
Sorry, we got a little lost.
Change the-
So we work for Dr. Ellen Pickage with Sharp.
Yep.
Um,
Can you
and-
just introduce yourselves so that we have it on the record, please?
Yes, I'm Elizabeth Salzman. This is Natalia Benaham.
Hello.
Sign in also.
Go ahead.
So Sharp was donated a buoy from a company called SOFAR, and it's a tech buoy that collects some basic environmental data, wave height, wind speed, surface temperature, atmospheric pressure. It's not very big, and we just wanted to deploy it. So we've been talking about places to deploy it. So basically it has a float buoy, it has solar panels, it's solar powered. It's connected to a global network. It's easily deployable, it's extremely durable. It can be weighted or attached to a dock. And this was a temporary deployment that we did for a couple of hours. And this is the data that it collected. It actually feeds data to a global network system that SOFAR has. So there are tons of these buoys all over the world, and this data is accessible to anyone. And so we spoke with Chris Skobler and a couple other members of SHERP, and what was discussed was mooring it to the Tiana Beach docks, which is obviously your dock.
Well, the Parks Department docks. Southampton Parks owns those docks over at the Tiana Beach.
That's their
Bayside.
docks. It's our underwater lands, but the docks are connected to the Parks Department.
Okay.
And you do realize there's seasonal docks over there too, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Well, Chris Skobler suggested mooring it to the dock, labeling it, or we could just put it weighted in that area.
If you weight it, then then it's on our jurisdiction if you're gonna weight it to the bottom.
Okay.
If you're gonna maybe,
Well, I mean, there is on the west end of the facility there is a wooden pier that goes out there. You could probably attach it to that.
Okay.
Worry about it smashing into the pier.
Well, I think they could probably put a bracket on it, and I mean, you guys have done this before, so you can, wave action and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you'd have to make some kind of a bracket or something that would attach temporarily to the pier so it doesn't bang up there.
I mean, if you did have it out, a little bit further away from it, anchored to the bottom, then it would just be its own bobbing
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah.
You may eliminate that issue.
Yeah, it was Chris suggested mooring it to the dock for easy access, but we could easily just put it a little further out. with the
Probably
buoy.
better off a little further out. It'd be easy enough access anyway.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, how often do you have to access it?
We really don't, unless there's some kind of problem with it. We don't need to access it. It charges, solar.
I mean, my suggestion is that you not attach it to the dock, that you
Okay.
push it out a little
Because
further and
inshore-
anchor to the bottom.
Inshore the dock, there's the oyster program that we have with Cornell.
Yes,
So,
we actually
and-
did speak with
And-
Danielle
and
Morris
then,
as well.
Kim Barber has an area just offshore there where they have a sanctuary for the eelgrass and
Yes.
shellfish. So maybe get the coordinates for that sanctuary
Yeah.
and put it in that sanctuary.
Okay.
And it's very shallow there, so you're not gonna have issues with boats running it over and those issues. If you get it too close to the dock, there's a dredged channel there and there's gonna be quite a bit of
Yeah,
boat
yeah.
traffic.
Yes.
So if you put it further north on the flat, then you're gonna be out of harm's way as far as the navigation.
Yeah.
You're not gonna worry
Yeah.
about it smashing into the,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You're
Like
better
a
off.
little channel there. Yeah. Okay.
All right?
Yeah,
Sounds
so let's
good.
get some GPS coordinates and then, we'll do some type of authorization letter.
Okay.
Good?
Or even off to the east a little bit farther. There's that bulkheading.
It's a deep hole over there,
Yeah.
and that's used quite a bit by guys that.
Fish.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid a lot of
Yeah, so you wanna
fishing
avoid
holes.
that, right? So stay out of the heavy traffic
Yeah.
zone. And just get off away from anything that's gonna smash into or be tampered with. Because you could just get a kayak probably and reach it easy if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had to, or what have you. I think it's easy enough.
James, can you get the coordinates for the agreement that we have with Kim Barber and Cornell for their it's a 5-acre sanctuary, and you can shoot them over to her, and so she can situate it within that little area.
In there or outside of that area?
You can put it right in there, because I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything.
Just a little mushroom anchor and.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's other obstructions that kind of everyone already knows what the obstructions are, so it's
Yeah.
not getting run
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with this. We'll take a look at that and we'll cite where we think it should go, where you're not gonna have any issues.
Okay.
Okay.
And I guess we'll just do the coordinates over email. Is that
Yeah,
over?
yeah, absolutely. You
Okay.
don't have to, you don't have to
Yeah.
come back. At least you know what building to go to now.
Yes.
That's
We-
a- That's
I
a
went
plus.
to the building that was on the agenda, which is the Hampton Bays building.
Oh, you went to,
Oh.
that's where our general, yeah,
Yeah.
that's, it would be a lot better for us.
They were laughing at the traffic driving over there.
Yeah. And then
good
they had
thing
it
you're
so-
start on that.
How long, it's gonna be a once in a year, yearly monitoring, couple years, few years? Is this something that you're gonna be, I'm just very curious to see what information's gonna be generated, and maybe at the end of a season, you could reach back to us and tell us what's going on in our bays.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start with so for now just for the summer season, since that's like our main sampling
Yeah.
season with all the trawling and everything, and then we're gonna reassess at the end of the season, see if we want to move the buoy, see what our plan is.
Okay.
So you say this data is accessible by anybody,
Yeah.
right? So there's an app or something like this?
There is the website. I can send that to you guys as well.
Okay.
Because then we can look at it.
We could put it up on our website too, so that people
Yeah, I
in
believe
the
it's
public.
like a login. But yeah,
Okay.
When do you want to deploy this? Like, what's your time frame? Like,
we're
like
trying to
2 weeks,
deploy
a
it
month?
at the end of the
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
Okay, that should be okay.
We should be able to
So you'll have
accomplish that.
something on for June
Second,
June 2nd
Yep.
authorization.
by the end of this month.
Is
you
there
want-
anything that we need, like liability or anything, Joe?
Well, I want to see the agreement you have with Kim Barber, but definitely we're going to have to give a letter of permission, and there is going to have to be coverage in terms of liability in case something happens.
Are we able to do something similar to as we do with the POP permit numbers in order to legalize it in a more streamlined fashion?
We haven't looked at that. We've done it with letters of permission and kind of like that, because we try to segregate out the commercial and the educational and recreational.
That was just a question, because I know that, as far as
Yeah, I know, but I want,
POP,
I think,
More of like a mooring,
yeah,
yeah.
like the process of a mooring.
it's like a
Exactly.
mooring permit, more of a
Yeah.
permanent than a
Right.
pod or something like that. It's
It's
gonna be lifted up.
educational.
Did you ladies say, are you gonna pull it out in the winter?
It can stay in the
No,
winter.
no. You're gonna pull it out in the winter.
The ice will
because
take it.
The ice will,
If
you're
you
gonna,
get ice.
unless you got some kind of locator on it, you're not gonna,
Yeah,
it's not a good area for leaving anything there over the winter, especially we have
that
a
was the thing.
heavy ice.
If it's going to be out in the winter, it would definitely get moved somewhere where things wouldn't freeze.
Okay.
That's what we were discussing.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think it's gonna stay in that area longer than this summer season.
All right, so we'll have some kind of idea what you're looking for and some data, and then if another place needs to be sought after, we'll do that review. Okay?
Thank you.
All right?
All right.
All
Thank
set?
you so much.
Thank you for coming in.
Great day. All right, so let's see. Now, I saw some other folks come in here. What are you here for, sir?
So I went to the Hampton Bays location as well.
Okay.
I just heard her saying that, so I went there as well. And,
What are you here for?
24 Sunset.
Come on up, because we
I
bypassed
figured you
that.
probably went through that one real quick at the beginning.
Yeah, we put it on hold.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, 24 Sunset.
Just state your name for the record and sign in, please.
Oh, sure. Michael Shrubus.
All right.
So just to confirm, guys, Joe's gonna do a letter of permission for this group, sure?
Yep.
All right, so you
Just
basically,
email
you're
them.
saying proposed new boat lift, add a floating dock leg to the existing floating dock and install 10 new piles is what you got on here, right?
Correct.
Yeah, this is,
What is currently there?
this is totally out of spec for what we generally do, right? Yeah, I mean, we can't, first of all, under current regulations, we can't approve these pilings.
So it has pilings currently.
Yeah, I get that, but what you've asked for is not to spec. Jay, can you pull up the plans so everybody can see them?
Yep.
Because these are really small too, my glasses can't even cut through this.
Probably terrapins.
Pressure treated right now there, that's not,
Right now, that's not the spec.
yeah.
And you want to add another floating dock,
So it has a floating dock currently.
right,
We're just looking at a strip to it where the boat lift would go.
right.
So all the stuff that when we purchased the home, all the stuff was taken out during the wintertime.
Okay,
Set aside, so everything was currently. Everything was currently there, but we're just looking to add the lift to it. And the piles are already there. Just adding the piles for the lift and then that extra piece.
yeah, so this is all out of spec from what we traditionally will do. And the second floating dock is out of spec from what we traditionally do as well. So you're missing, you're not to the specs of the regulations in many different aspects. with this
So isn't
thing
it
here.
under 200 square feet?
What do you mean?
Isn't it under 200 square feet? It was permitted or something like that?
A 6x20 floating dock.
Yeah, but you have one there already, right?
So the existing one that's there is the long piece that would run, I guess, horizontally to with the boat lift that's there.
Okay.
So that's already existing.
Okay, so there's one.
Yeah.
Has a permit, a current permit?
It was been existing, I guess, for the last 20 years or something like that.
Do you have
Does
a
it
permit
have
for
a
that?
permit?
We would have
We'd
to
have
look.
to foil for that. You'd have to foil, right?
Yeah, because right now, what you.
We don't even know if that's legal, whether you say it's existing for 20 years or not.
But
Right, so right now, what you have, the plan that you have now is just not to specs. It's just not an approvable plan right now.
what is in spec? I'm not too familiar with that because the DEC approved it already.
Right, but the DEC doesn't own underwater lands, we do.
Right. That's what they told us to come do this.
Correct.
Right.
And it just doesn't, we don't approve multiple floating docks, on the same property like that. And right now, even though the state and everybody else is good with the pilings that you have, we're not currently. We're looking into that, but we're not there. Okay, I know everybody else does, but that's not to our spec, so it isn't fresh, so that's gonna be a problem. I think what you need to do with this is go back,
And see if the current dock is legal.
see if that's legal, take a look online at the Blue Book regulations for the
Chapter
management.
A340 of the town code, it's an appendix to the town code, the trustees' regulations are
Right,
there.
so take a look at that, and then take a look at your plan, and then you're gonna have to go back to the drawing board on it, because right now, we can't do anything with this right now, and that's what you need to do. You need to look at that section, look at what you got going on there, and then reevaluate this, is what you need to do.
So you're saying that the two pieces that are on the opposite sides of the boat are considered out of spec because they're floating docks?
Yeah, the way this whole thing's being presented is out of spec. You need to go back, look at that section that council's telling you, take a look at what you got going on there, and then, resubmit so that it fits the guidelines of what we need to do here.
But you're also saying that piles aren't?
Pilots are not, no, and again, you go back,
I didn't draw these, so.
I get it.
My architect
Listen
drew
to
it.
what he's telling you, go
Right.
back, read that section, right? Take a look at every point on there relative to what you're looking to do here. Look at that, and then look at this. And you can see, okay, I got it. This has got to be changed. This has got to be changed. You follow me? That's what you need to do. This way you can go to your office, sit at your desk.
I'm not the architect.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just the owner. I don't know.
You're
anything
that's
about this
what, then
stuff.
you got to tell him he's got to do
Right,
that.
right.
Who's ever doing that? They got to sit and look at it.
You should FOIL for the original
That's
permit.
the first thing you need to do is FOIL to see if what you've got is legal, because it may not be and you're gonna have to legalize it. So-
To go one further, I mean, I don't really have a magnifying glass
I know,
right
it's
now.
hard to read that.
But it doesn't seem like they have the depth to do any of it.
Yeah, I
anyway.
can't read this. Yeah, and that's,
Boat lifts are prohibited in Phillips Creek, so also
There's already a boat lift in the creek.
at this property.
No, at Phillips Creek.
Okay, so they're prohibited according to the
so we're
regulations.
gonna have to check that one too.
And floating docks, you don't have enough depth for a floating dock at the current location.
There's
I don't-
3 feet of water.
Is it 3? Because I can't see it on the.
We got a bathymetric survey from they requested a DEC yesterday.
Yeah, I can't,
I can't read it. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't, exactly, I can't read this, but what I could read, I saw there was a bunch of things that were just out of spec. It's like, it's out of spec.
Yeah, they asked us to make it small, I guess, to print on a 11 by 17. But the bathymetric survey was done, and there's
Yeah, but I mean, this is so small.
Can you submit that to us?
it was all sent in with the packet. She sent the email through on I guess with the application. But there was a bathymetric survey that was completed. I think that might be it right there.
but I mean, as James spoke, it's written that, I mean, there might be somebody and there might be somebody in violation with a boat lift on Phillips Creek, but as of current, there's no boat lifts on Phillips Creek, so either way, it would, you'd have to put that into consideration.
All right, you gotta go back to this, right? Everybody's gotta go back to this, and,
I can't read.
I can't,
First step would be submit a FOIL request for any permits for the property.
Okay.
Older permits, so that we can determine if the floating dock that's there now is permitted. That's the first step. Then you can design according to that.
Mhm.
Because the current regulations, the trustees only allow 1 6x20 floating dock. So to add another floating dock and a boat lift, the extra floating dock won't be approved. The boat lift, according to the regulations, says
Can't read this.
it's prohibited in this water body, so.
Yeah, we had larger plans, but like I said, I guess the lady Charlotte said to submit them as a small plan so she could print it.
yeah, but it's just,
If you have larger plans, just email us the larger plans. We
I
can't,
believe it was emailed through the whole thing. On
like the
application.
actual large plans itself.
Those were all emailed. But
That way they're-
she had asked to, I guess, send another set of it on a smaller thing so she could print it.
Yeah, because we can't scan, if you give us large plans, we can't scan it in through our
System.
scanner. So we need a digital copy of the large plan so we can see them.
Right, yeah.
And also
Yeah, We're
A
putting
hard
up these
copy of
plans
the-
up on the board up there, and it's like, we can barely see here, so it's
Yeah,
20
yeah.
feet away, it's like,
Yeah, I could have sworn it was all sent. I mean, I know he had emailed it to Charlotte in the trustee's office, Charlotte Dickinson.
yes.
yes.
And then They had also asked to send a smaller copy as well so they could print it.
Yeah, but this, just a font is, everything's just so small, it can't. But what we can see, there's definitely more questions that have to be answered
Yeah.
before we can give this thing a permit anyway. And council gave you good advice to take.
So that number was A2304, you said?
A 340.
340.
A is an Albert 340. It's an appendix to the town code.
So you're the owner,
Yes.
and your agent is C-Tech?
No, Eunice Group.
Yeah.
It should have been on, I guess it was on that,
Munis.
it was on the paperwork.
So are they a good contact too, or
Yes.
should we go directly with you, or?
No, you can contact them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go online and FOIL for the information, or you could stop back at 240 West and get the FOIL application at our office in Hampton Bays.
Yes,
Or you can also file it online as well.
yes. Yeah.
So if you did it in person, they do that the same day, or?
No, it's usually, it's just 14-day process as long as we have, we have to deliver it within 14 days of it.
20 days.
20
But we have
days.
to acknowledge within 5 days. You'll get it a lot faster, but there's one person doing foils, so.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So we gotta make the determination of what's already there, legally permitted, and then
We can build from there, or.
figure out what
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta do here. You know what I mean? What you can do and what you can't do under current regulations. And that's what you gotta do. And then, looking at that A340, give your agent a guide to, okay, this is what we can do here. You know what I mean? That'll make it easier to accomplish what you can accomplish there. Right now, there's nothing we can do with this right now, the way it's situated.
Eddie, I'll make a note about Phillips Creek and the hoist.
Yeah.
We'll check that too, yep.
Yeah. And James would be the contact person in our office, or Charlotte Dickinson, she's in the audience right there too. She's our,
Oh, hey. All right.
yep, so, yes, those are the two people in the office that you'd have correspondence with.
Okay.
Okay?
So I'll have him go over that, and then do I resubmit it or just submit it?
You're
to
gonna
them?
have to resubmit it,
Yeah.
yeah. It's 'cause
That's what I'm saying. Like, do I just, after it's all done, it's submit it to them and then?
Yep.
resubmit. and
We'll
We'll bring
we'll
you
get
back on for a work session.
Yeah,
schedule.
back onto work session again, and hopefully then it's more,
Yeah.
it's 100% compliant with what it is that the Blue Book says, and then you can get to where you need to be. But right now, we can't,
Yep.
it's too far out.
And if your consultant has questions, you can email James or Charlotte, and they'll try to send you in the right direction, all right?
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Right. All right. Okay, who else?
I got Larry, I got a couple here.
Your next one is Larry Tauber at 12 Gilbert,
Yes.
and that would be First Coastal, who also was stuck in traffic,
All right.
like the rest of the group here. right?
Good Monday morning.
Yes.
Aram Tertuni and First Coastal, West Hampton Beach.
Big project.
Yeah. Plus. Okay, I think that the board has seen this before. Or have they? No, they have not.
No, we-
So this is a standard bulkhead replacement with some incidental dredging. We're gonna raise the bulkhead 12 inches and replace it in place with a vinyl interlock. There's some dredging on the seaward edge of the bulkhead, and then there's a a good-sized boat slip on the north side. And we're going to dredge up to our property line. As you, I think, yeah, you can see there. If you zoom in, James, you can see there's a bunch of shoaling right there.
Real quick, on that shoaling that you proposed where it says flood and ebb
Yeah.
against the bulkhead, I know we had asked, or your client had asked for dredging before, and the DEC had considered that some kind of a functional wetland almost, because they limited the dredging when they did the last dredging there to just in the channel.
Okay.
You might want to do a little bit of research on it, because, I mean, we wanted it to be dredged out because it's, the county had done the dredging to Foster's Creek, but that sandbar still had, been left there, and they were very limited to the amount of dredging that could be done. I think this is about 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay, so you're talking about.
Yeah, where the cursor is right in front of it there.
Right, that.
No, going towards the bay, in the channel that goes out right along that bulkhead there.
Right there.
That,
Right where you said the flood neb is, right
Yes.
opposite that?
yeah, because there was a very large shoal that was actually almost out of the water at high tide, and they considered that some kind of intertidal. They had a word for it, wetland. It wasn't wetland.
Mud flat is what it is.
I know what it is, and I know. And I tried very hard to get rid of it when the county did it, but they were limited to. If you go back 10 years ago, you're going to see that there's a much, or even longer than that, there was a much larger.
I just noticed on that. I mean, I know
There it is,
GIS.
there it is.
GIS is.
See, see what was there.
Okay, I see. All right.
See, and that was considered loss of a wetland.
Okay.
Just
It's not there anymore.
no, because the county dredged the channel. When they dredged the channel, it all sloughed in.
Okay.
Yeah, have you received any correspondence back from the DEC yet, or?
No, I don't have that in this file, but I'll double check
I
it.
know GIS isn't always accurate, but I just noticed the property line versus the bulkhead and on the south side. I guess that's the south side of the property.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's just not registered right now.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And
Yeah.
your proposed elevation change, how does it reflect on the property that is the Ponquag Marine on the east side of that channel? Is it lower, higher, the same height?
On the east side of that
On the
channel?
east side of the
I don't
channel.
know.
Because we worked with the Stabelics and to permit a bulkhead over there and a breakwater, and because of the state and federal government and the coastal resiliency program that was initiated, that they allowed them a certain elevation change that would protect their business during a storm like Sandy. So I don't know what the height difference is between one or the other, but I would like to kind of comparatively match them up. To me, that way, not one side gets more than the other or less than the other.
What's the name of that marina?
Ponquag Marine.
Ponquag Marine. Okay, I can foil that.
I worked with the Stabelics and the DEC in working out a formula that would protect their property during a storm on the category of a Sandy.
Well, that's a 7. It's elevation 7.2.
Well, I'm just, so, I mean, I know the bulkhead that is currently at Gilbert there is lower than what
Oh, yeah.
is on the other side, so, and raising it, because you have it raised up 18 inches and you asked for 12, so I'm just trying to, go
You were
by.
actually asked for dredging in the front of the property there, not just on the channel side.
Yeah, we did all the way around.
Don't dredge that.
No, don't
dredge
it.
that.
No, that's,
And we prefer you didn't. That's where I was getting at, but I just noticed
no,
on the plans
no,
it was
no.
on there, it was proposed, and I
So you
don't
want
think.
us to remove that?
yeah, that's productive wetland,
Yeah.
productive underwater lands.
Okay, so everything on the south side, get rid of.
Yep.
Investigate this northeast corner.
Yep.
And check the bulkhead height on the Ponquag Marine.
Yep.
Okay, all right, that's a list.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff done at Ponquag.
And, I mean, I see, there's gonna be quite a bit of dredging and material that's gonna be placed behind the bulkhead, and the bulkhead, and behind the bulkhead currently is terribly scoured out. What kind of, planting schematics or material do you plan to put there?
Right now, we've got it with American beach grass.
Okay.
Which pretty resilient.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scour out behind the bulkhead, so
Yeah, I see that. in the
all that
photo.
material is gonna be
I mean, that
necessary.
could just be from a failing bulkhead too.
That's from Sandy.
Sandy.
Sandy decimated this whole shoreline.
Yeah, you need to add the buffer language
Uh,
to the cover sheet and the plans.
Specific language?
Or, yeah, I mean, you don't have any buffer language on on the cover sheet specifically. On the survey, I see there's a 15-foot non-fertilization buffer. Is that from the conservation board?
It must be from Conservation Board. Yeah, we're doing 10 for the planting.
Yeah, you have right here, dredge material to be used, backfill, planted, American beach grass, 12 inches on center. It's right on the plans that I'm looking at here.
Right, but it's not in the description?
It's not in the description. If you could just.
Okay, I'll add it in there.
So are you then the extra 5 feet for that other fertilization buffer? Is that going to remain the same? Or?
There's not a copy of a survey in here. So
Is there a
I don't know what you're
covenant
looking
from the
I have the survey
conservation
here.
board?
at. There must be.
Must be, then it's gotta stay.
Proposed. Well, it says proposed 15 wide.
All right, let me double check the Conservation Board file.
How old is that survey?
Three. 26, 23.
Revised 05. Like last revised 05.
So that's a very old survey.
You have a more current survey?
Because that would not say proposed, that would say what is, right?
5.
You need updated.
Conservation Board file. Yeah, I think, well, what we did, in this case, we were looking at, obviously, the hydro, which is up to date. But weren't, as I guess, concerned about the upland, except for ownership.
Yeah, the survey we have here now is 5905, it looks like. So it definitely needs to be updated.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff going on in this project, so.
So this is going on hold, so he can go back to
Yep.
his desk and work on it. Taking notes diligently.
I have one for,
I got the memory of a sieve. I'll write it down.
I have still one more.
He's got two, you got,
Oh, he's got more in it?
yeah, he's
All right,
got
let
two
him go,
more,
let
so
him go.
you should.
All right, we'll hold on.
Okay, what would you like to do next?
Do 650?
Yeah. 650 Dune Road.
Right. Okay, this is the one I think you've seen before.
Yeah, last visit, last work session.
And so we've got the stamp plans and we're ready to go forward.
Reconstruction plans.
So this is the one Billy Mack was in for last time.
Mm-hmm.
What were we held up on?
I
The
don't know.
height, we were discussing the height and the added return, but we all kind of agreed it. Are the planting schedules on you? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I think they were hesitant about planting across here.
Yeah, and we recommended the whole way. And there was, Ed was talking about the height, being 12 inches, 18 inches. I think was it 12 now? We agreed
10-foot
on?
buffer planted with beach grass, 12 inches on center, landward of bulkhead, or weather report dock.
Yes, well, that's on there. On the cover sheet and on the plans.
This is when we discussed half of it was vegetated and half of it was sand. Yep.
Now it's going the whole way across, right? The planting?
Right. All the way across. So, are we good to advance that one?
I think so.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And their stamp plans, so good to go on that.
Yeah.
But that one was gonna be a few inches higher. I don't see that on the, I don't see that on the,
It's on the plan.
no, it's, 12 inch on center is what that says. That's for beach grass.
Is it on the
It's on the plan.
cover sheet?
I don't see it on the cover
Character,
sheet.
it should be on there too.
Yeah, there's nothing on the cover sheet for the.
All right, so we'll just send you a new cover sheet.
Advance it pending the cover sheet.
Pending the
Yeah.
adjusted cover sheet.
Phone's blowing up about these dead turtles in the top.
Not me.
You didn't do it?
It gets salted over.
Where's the locations?
Trying to get
Give me the
information.
locations, I'll give you an exact reason.
Trying to get
614.
but it was an error. It was an error.
He was here, we've
We
already
already
got an
check
alibi.
him off the list. He's got an alibi. He's here with us.
Or with traffic.
Tell them to make some turtle stew.
Turtle soup.
Just don't suggest eternal Parmesan.
So, 614, the dock application, you've seen this several times. I think we're at a point now where I think we're got to the right place.
Okay.
I think President Horowitz and I were there last week.
Yeah, we were there
Was
last
this
week.
dance
Mike.
we've been doing for a long time with the rocks?
This is that
Going
living
over.
shoreline over there in West
Both,
Hampton.
both of our memories, right? We think it was last week.
Wasn't this week.
Correct.
That part I know.
So now we have two sets of ladders so they can go down before and after the rocks.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's a short piece beyond where the rocks are to just get them out past it.
And you can see the float and ramp on to the right of it to the east is way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether they have permits or not, I have no idea.
I got no idea. I didn't look at that.
But this is when you go there and you look at it, it's it's not that far out.
Yeah. No, I like this.
You looked at it, yeah. Yeah, it was
Establishing a living shoreline, it's kind of hard to walk across the rocks and,
well, and the vegetation that is starting
It's
to
really doing well.
pop out nicely, so you don't want to hurt that, right? So you want to get out past the established vegetation so that it's a living shoreline, not a trampled shoreline.
All this, I was explaining to Trustee Horowitz, it took us 3 seasons to get that Spartina right, but now it's right.
yeah, but the first season, there was no precipitation when you did it.
You just ate the hell out of it, and we put in the goose protection, and it, for the second year, really helped. By the third year, we also got slightly deeper rooted plants. So,
That's like very important.
but the goose protection was the key. And now it's doing super well.
You'll be amazed when this stuff takes hold, it'll
Yeah.
just
I
spread and
I think this
It's
is
already actually starting to buffet the wave energy in front of the rocks.
Beautiful.
I think this is sensible under the circumstances.
Are the horseshoe crabs coming up in there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they come right up and around onto the sand that's directly behind.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's great. I mean, without this structure, there wouldn't be any sand for them to burrow.
Any horseshoe crabs there.
when they lay their eggs, it doesn't wash away. You know, that shore was, from the whole time I've been on a board, it was like very
It had like a
liquid, I guess you'd say.
Sacrificial.
per year erosion rate. I mean, the property lines go out like 200 feet into the bay.
I remember when I was first on the board, Eric and I went up there, and we had rocks probably 75 or feet more that were in the bay, and it was all beach behind it. And I went up there, I don't know, like right after Sandy, and I'm like, couldn't see where the rocks were, and it was like the one house with the swimming pool was getting washed out. It was like It's a pretty volatile area.
Pretty volatile.
Now you've made an area for a horseshoe crab egg buffet for the red knot birds.
Yeah. Haven't seen a red knot there, but it definitely is their palate.
Yeah.
We can advance that one.
Yeah, that's a sensible
We
proposition.
just need stamp plans, so it'll be advanced to the next work session for review, stamp plans review.
All right.
Okay, that's all I have.
That's all you have, right?
I have one more.
Thank you.
Got one more, Eddie? The 38 Penny?
38 Penny.
I see Daphne here. I assume she's representing 38 Penny. Surfside. Have a great day.
I know this isn't Fallujah after the bombing.
Literally. Pretty beat up, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm good. I also got stuck in that fun morning traffic.
Unbelievable, huh?
It's never ending, is it? What pen is this? This is a good pen.
We want to supply the
Attach
best.
a chain to it so you don't take it.
Some more
Probably too
pictures.
much traffic for it across the highway.
So,
Go up on the other side of the highway when it gets real salty.
this one
Yeah.
is a mess. Yes, we can start with that. This is basically on the east side of the inlet from Shinnecock Bay into Penny Pond, which, as many of you may be aware, has significant erosion that's blocking the channel at certain times. So the goal here is to, well, I should start by saying this board approved a permit about 13 years ago, next door
Some more
for the
pictures.
same property owner for the apartment complex that's there. This is a vacant piece that is owned by the same entity, that they would like to restore the bulkhead to the fullest extent possible by moving back the bay side 20 feet to kind of give back some of that area that you can see, especially in my second photo, is all eroded out. This wall got decimated over the past probably 15 years, if not more. I think in 2011, a lot happened with Irene, and then of course Sandy came after that. And then, you know, once it breached, then we got problems.
Have you gone to the DEC with this at all yet?
Our goal is to come here first and then go to the DEC, because the DEC, I believe the entire project was put before both this board and the DEC back in 2011. And the DEC at that time did have issues, but they did ask for us to move it back. I was not involved, I should say. They did not want to relocate it at that time, and they ended up dropping this whole part of the project because the importance was more for what was in front of the apartment. So they received all those approvals, finished it, and have still, I mean, this is going to be quite a costly project for the homeowner.
I mean, me personally, I'd love to see that be a low sill with wetlands and then a rubble behind, rubble where you propose to move it back.
Well, originally I had Daphne just drew up this proposal, and I sat with James and Charlotte and went over piece by piece by piece, and the part in front, the south facing where it's very eroded, the bulkhead is gonna have to be moved back 20, 30
We're doing
feet.
20 feet.
And then we sat and we went around the bulkhead where 11 years ago, or whenever we permitted it, there was a bulkhead that was functioning there, but subsequently it's basically got washed out and broke apart. So I went over with James and Charlotte, and we looked at that whole stretch from basically the point where it makes the bend and heads up to Forsters to the north, that a low sill bulkhead would probably gain the most favor with our board and the DEC, because it's not gonna have any net loss of wetlands. Putting a bulkhead there in the line that you currently have proposed, there's a lot of area where there is wetlands behind there.
Yeah, it's a non-functional bulkhead right now,
Yeah.
so.
So you're talking about
I'm
in
saying,
Penny
like,
Pond,
leaving-
is that where you're
I'd,
talking
I'd
about?
say leave
The whole thing?
where the existing bulkhead is make that a low sill bulkhead.
Yeah,
And behind that with wetlands
revegetate it.
and revegetated wetlands. And I
The
think
whole
that
thing, from
the
the
whole
front, the south side, and all the
Yeah.
way around is low sill, is what you're saying?
Well, the south side is gonna be hard to have a low sill bulkhead where, with the wave fetch from the southeast there. When you start breaking around the corner and heading into Penny Pond is where you could start the low sill bulkhead and just make so.
I mean, would we be able to put rock there?
I would see some kind of rock or some kind of structure.
Just to break up that southerly fetch,
Yeah, the wave, yeah,
to protect the low sill bulkhead
Yes.
wetland behind
where it
it.
wraps around.
I think we'd have a better shot, or she'd have a better shot at putting the bulkhead where it's existing than moving the bulkhead back personally.
Well, they're not gonna allow putting the south facing bulkhead, they're not gonna allow it to be replaced in kind there, in place.
Yeah, there's
not.
indication that the DEC is not gonna let that stay where it is.
No way.
So that's
Would
why
you be
we're
able to put a
proposing
low
it
sill
the 20
bulkhead?
feet back.
Even if it's low sill?
Probably not.
And what
It's gonna
the,
be heavy lift.
the goal is to have the bulkhead be basically the continuation of what we have on the apartment side, along the bay front and into the canal. And then it kind of lowers a little bit and is 400 gauge versus 600 gauge sheathing, going into Penny Pond. It would probably be slightly higher than what's deteriorated there now. So it's going to kind of be a higher wall on the most important
south-facing
parts.
side.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of step down. And we're proposing some walkway because the goal in the future would be to potentially have some dockage here.
I think instead of a bulkhead on that southern stretch, this rock would be better because it would mitigate more wave action than a hard bulkhead.
Well, yeah, and the bulkhead that's currently there is much higher than we would ever approve. I mean, it's gotta be like, the one that was just put in has gotta be like 8 or 9 feet high.
Yeah.
Well, you guys approved that.
It was in kind, we just replaced what was there, but I mean.
And you
it's-
actually also let them have an 8-foot walkway behind it, which I found to
When
be
was that?
interesting. 2011?
2011.
Yeah,
Was that a functional bulkhead though at the time?
You're thinking more on the way of attenuation versus
No,
having
it was
that
after,
energy
it was
just
after
blast
Sandy,
into
it was
that.
like.
Because then it's just gonna wrap
Before,
around.
It was actually
Yeah, you
April
wanna
of 2012.
You want to
Instead
break the if you instead of a hard wall, if you break that up with a rock structure, I think you'd be way farther
Rock
ahead.
revetment with,
And that-
where we angle it up on a nice like
And if it-
45-degree angle where you
If
get.
it does get blasted, it's gonna move. You know, if the rocks move a little bit, it's still gonna become a protective structure for the wetlands you're trying to create instead of a hard bulkhead wall.
Well, that way, if we put a hard bulkhead wall, they're gonna backfill it and there's gonna be no wetlands. If you
Yeah.
put a rock revetment,
Yeah.
more than likely you're
Then you
gonna
have the
plant it.
flow of the water going in and out. You're creating a good possibility that wetlands is going to survive.
It's gonna flourish.
Have
yeah.
you played out
I'm
any of these scenarios?
confused. Can we start
Yeah,
There's a
over?
lot.
What are you guys talking about?
I'm
Because I
trying to-
want to make
That
sure
southern,
we're all on the same
instead
page.
of that southern wall, instead of a solid structure, we're recommending or we're proposing that be a rock wall instead of like a
wall start?
So this is, I mean, there's a bulkhead on the other side of the channel, isn't there? This has historically been a bulkhead the whole time, like back to, I have a historical aerial in here
60s?
from 1976 where it's partially bulkheaded, but then 84, it's fully bulkheaded.
Have you thought about,
Functioning bulkhead right now.
Well, right now, it's not a functioning bulkhead,
Right,
so
well,
we don't
have-
really have
No,
to
I
approve
get
anything.
that.
because of the fact that this is,
They abandoned the bulkheads just by the looking at the
Well-
conditions, so.
I just have a simple question. Based on the complexity of this project, have you thought about perhaps having a pre-application meeting with the state?
We are hoping to go there with the support of this board to help bolster us
towards an approval from them. We have not submitted anything in recent time. The last time something went before the DEC was in 2011 as part of that prior approval for the entire project. Because as you can see on our plan, it's basically contiguous to their developed portion of the property. This would be the first step in a much larger potential project. And whether or not this is a bulkhead does have play a factor in that.
Well, it's no longer a functional bulkhead.
So I just think that this magnitude of a project requires more consideration than spitballing on a Monday morning, you know what I mean? So we've really got to take a hard look at this and figure out, you know, because there's all these different.
I had
approaches.
a number of conversations with Ed about this. We discussed that this plan is something that I discussed with Ed multiple times, and we had multiple revisions that came before Ed before we even submitted.
Right, because we just went from a low sill to a rock revetment in less than 10 minutes.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying, I think we got.
None of that was ever discussed.
I understand that, which is why.
But I mean, that's part of what this work session is about.
Right, so I think this is a good sized project. I think this is gonna take a lot of consideration. This may be several meetings that we have here to kind of boil this thing down.
I asked Daphne to submit something so that we could work off of it. When I got the submission, I brought it to James and to Charlotte, and we sat there looking on, not specifically right here, but inside of the creek heading to the north, because there is a lot of wetlands there, and putting any type of actual bulkhead, you're gonna lose that functioning wetlands. And I know the DEC and our board is not in favor of a net loss of a wetlands. We really didn't discuss this here as far as, other than just a bulkhead that was, you know, gonna be replaced at some point probably where the line was drawn, or maybe a little further back. We didn't discuss a rock revetment or anything like that, and that's why I wanted to bring it to the.
Yeah, I like the project, and I like the idea of the wetlands with a low sill. I just don't like the idea of a hardened structure there, if you're trying to create wetlands.
So then you're talking about going with a
rock revetment.
Right, a rock revetment.
So that way you have flow through, so you can create the wetland.
So you want to make more of a living shoreline type of area.
For the whole thing, are we talking about?
Primarily for that southern facing.
For the southern facing stretch. Because the low sill bulkhead on the creek side can be hard and just like we traditionally do.
Yeah.
We just find the height whereby the grasses.
What does that look like? Do you have a picture of that he's talking about now? Do you have that view? Where's that view?
There's a whole bunch of
That's
pictures.
that view?
Just that's from that's west working east.
So you'd have to go another.
This one?
This back section.
The start of the channel?
Creek. Yeah.
Yeah, the start of the creek, right?
So beyond there.
This is the south facer, right here?
Yeah,
That's the north side.
So that would be the north
That's
side where I
that's
propose.
Shinnecock Bay, and this is going in towards Penny Pond.
This is the
Up on the
So
side.
this is the whole
Do you
stretch
want to
that
put
goes
low
around.
sill here?
There's
So-
some point there to, yes.
Like take this thing here that's,
Yeah,
and make that a low sill, is what you're
and with
saying.
vegetative plantings behind it. Seagrass.
Yeah, it allows the water.
So it's the
high
height
water.
whereby that it can be flooded enough for it to. Otherwise, we just say screw it and have no bulkhead because none of this is functional
I was just
anyway.
thinking the same thing. I mean, if you just take that bulkhead out, it just looks like a regular shoreline.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We could just call for its removal.
Here you go. Here's what it looks like from GIS, this whole area where.
But I mean, the DEC is going
It's
to
all
want to see a
scoured out,
vegetative
scoured out.
wetland or no bulkhead.
Well, I'm just trying to, because I know what you're up against. You've got yourself a nice project that you're working on here. This is going to be,
Great.
this is going to be a, so that's why I was like, I think it requires a lot of consideration on our end. Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels everywhere.
Well, yeah, no, I get that, and a part of me says, why can't it be both? Why can't we have partial bulkhead and partial revetment, partial low sill? Like, this is a huge amount of area.
Yeah.
So it's over 800 linear feet.
I'm going to have to go there.
Yeah, I would like everybody to go there.
Yeah, I have to go there because I can't even.
This is a start. This is why,
you got to start somewhere, right?
There's a few portions on the interior closer to the channel entrance where there is some Spartina patents, but the rest is mainly sand.
I just, my
It's
whole,
just
my
continuing to
whole worry,
erode.
and this gets back to like a 65 cliff, is like, even on the inside, even though you consider that bulkhead like a non-functioning bulkhead, it is functioning very well at holding the sand from washing into the creek. You know, like that.
Right here is a good testament to what you're saying.
Yeah,
You wanna
I
take a
mean,
look
so
at-
we're not like, you know, everyone has a problem with bulkheads, but like that right there, look at the sand, look at how much sand that's retaining. Look at how much shoreline structure, it's kind of like, if that was removed, it'd be right up to the wood line.
I think,
Well, that's why if a low sill bulkhead is placed there, then the wetland can be
The-
protected from any wave action from
Yeah.
the channel or whatever,
Yeah.
but it would also hold the wetland behind it.
And it would reduce the wave attenuation going farther in and washing more
Right.
out.
all right, so let's do this. We're gonna have to all go there. We're gonna have to,
I fully support that. If there's not great photos of the existing shoreline,
No.
because a lot of trees have had their root system scoured out and have fallen. So this used to be fully vegetated with cedars, and a lot of that has been lost to the significant erosion because the bulkhead has failed. And like I said, it's not that they abandoned it, it's just this is an extremely costly project to undertake. Especially if the priority was to fix the wall that was in front of the structures versus this. And that there was an issue with the DEC back in the day that needs to be readdressed. And we really would like to go to the DEC with something approved by this board before we start that conversation to say, you know, this is what we collectively have figured out and that this is what we believe will work, and in hopes that they can agree with that or minorly modify it.
all right, so let us do our work then on our end if we're gonna have that, you know, type of,
But
discussion.
the owner would like to maintain some kind of usability of the former boat ramp that was there on the north, I guess we'll call it the
Is
northeast
that when there was
side.
no bulkhead there? It was all like,
There's almost nothing there now, but they want to maintain a ramp there and then some walkway for potential future dockage for the apartment complex.
that walkway is, that's a long ways off, and that's environmental review board, correct? Marty's office?
Say that again?
Is that gonna become Marty's jurisdiction, that walkway?
Well, part of the reason we want this to be a bulkhead is to eliminate the majority of jurisdiction of the Conservation Board, because this is your waterway.
One of the big problems that has been caused by this whole bulkhead becoming dysfunctional is the channel filling in and the
Yes.
ability for boats to navigate safely in and out of there. And the ecology of the creek, basically at low tide, there's virtually like no flow because of the water being so shallow.
Yeah.
So one of the aspects that we have to look into is maybe having the county or the property owner may possibly dedicate his property temporarily to having a dredge spoil site so that we can get the channel dredged, removing the material that was once the property in question, and then, you know, having
And then also that would give them enough height to have the Spartina.
right. And you'd have all the.
I would love to see the bulkhead stay right and not even hitch it back, but I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, but that's underwater. That,
Yeah.
at high tide, there's 3 feet plus water there. So a low sill bulkhead is not gonna work with that depth of water.
It's my understanding from the caretaker of the apartment complex that at low tide, you can almost walk across the entrance of the channel, that it's that bad.
even me?
Yeah,
Go for a
you'd
walk
be
together.
hanging on the rubber tube.
So, let's, everybody look at it.
Yeah.
To get a, figure out a low tide and go down there and look at it at a low tide.
It's my understanding that the county has preliminarily looked at this.
Yes, they have been, looked at it. So, twice.
And what's the county said?
Well, site's an issue.
So here we are providing a spoil site and a possibility for increased wetlands,
Still,
productive
yeah,
wetlands.
you gotta
There
get,
was a question because there was a remnants of an old pool, swimming pool, I believe that's,
No,
remember,
that's all gone.
It's all gone.
There's
There was
nothing-
some other-
There's no structure on the site.
okay.
then you got permitting on that aspect too, so you got a lot of
Yep.
permitting that involves the state, so.
So,
Is there access to this property? Can we park here, the 40
you
Penny
can
Lane?
go to the apartments and then walk through. There's actually, I think there's a gate that you can get through towards the northern end, or you can walk down by the pool.
It's Arlington
I think
Shores,
it's,
right?
it's harder to get through that way.
This is going
You're
to.
better off a little further north.
You don't want to walk through there,
There's
there's
a
too many
pathway.
ticks.
We don't want ticks, but
No, there's a path.
we don't want ticks.
Okay.
We're going on a field trip, we want things like
Where's the
pizza.
Oh, good luck.
I missed it.
On the east end of Long Island.
Where's
do
the,
not have any
Daphne,
ticks.
do you know idea
want
where the
ticks.
path is?
It's
Over
easy
there?
to see from the parking lot.
Okay.
I don't think you can really see it, but there's kind of that clearing to the left of where you are right now. I think there's a path through the trees
Over
that's
here.
there. It's pretty wide.
Take a boat.
Go around.
Ticks can't swim.
It's not easier to go over here?
Take the barge.
It's very steep.
What barge?
You have to
Helicopter.
jump.
You don't want to
There's
jump.
all that concrete.
Okay.
there.
We're gonna do that helicopter
bar.
practice thing, they
But
could
I
drop us
mean,
off.
I was able to walk
In the
around
bucket.
there in January, so it was.
But they
not
do
bad.
have permission to go on this property because it's the same owner?
Yes.
Okay.
We have to
Yeah,
look
the-
at it.
The same owner owns both parcels, and, they would fully be in support of any of you going there to look at it.
And the fact they have a permit pending, application pending would give you right to.
Well,
enter
I'm just
onto the
because that's
property.
on this
Yeah,
property.
technically, it's a different tax map number.
Yeah.
This property is vacant.
If it's all encompassing, they
The caretaker lives there, or the caretaker is
Yes.
there?
He was supposed to be with me today, but he actually ended up in the Stony Brook burn unit with a problem with a sandblaster. So
Oh, God.
he's okay. I spoke to him this morning. He's okay, but
Sandblaster.
I'm not gonna be around for a little while.
Wow.
All right, let's table it. Everyone looks at it.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
table this for now.
But yeah, I mean, if you want me to meet you out there at any time, I can typically do that. If somebody gives me a heads up a day or two before.
Oh, you've been out, I've been out in the field with you before, so I know you'll come out.
Yeah, I have no issue.
Thank
I
you.
enjoy field trips.
Thank you.
So we're talking about potential low sill or rock revetment and portions.
Vegetative wetlands, possible spoil site for the county dredge project.
To be continued.
Okay. Got it.
Few moving parts, but we'll figure it out. It's a good project when we get through it.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to be able to maintain, and that's it. Penny Pond has a lot going on.
Yeah,
on
sure.
it, So
A lot of commerce.
to be able to open that would be great.
Yes.
Okay, well,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Daphne.
Thank you.
I think, is that all that we have on here, James?
That is.
All right, so now we have a substantial executive session here. Is there anything else that we need to discuss during work session, or you guys good to adjourn?
Adjourn.
I'm good.
Let's adjourn and go to executive
Yeah.
session?
Yeah.
All right, so I will make the motion to adjourn our work session, go to executive session, discussing litigation and other contract issues, seconded by trustee Marin. All in favor?
All right.
Okay, we'll see everybody in a little while.